Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. We got action. A little late Christmas present to baseball fans everywhere. Snell being traded. That was my time. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Talkin' Baseball. One more sneak attack episode of the 2020 calendar year as we have a big trade to discuss. Finally, some action. My name's Jimmy. I got Jake coming to you from Connecticut and Trev coming to you from California. Bug Dude in the studio with me in the Bronx. How was everybody's holiday, Christmas, and this weird week before New Year's? Trev, how are you? It's nice and early for you. 7:10 in the morning.
It is. We were texting really like 5:30 in the morning my time, but we got to get this episode out for the people. I had a great Christmas, great holiday week, season, whatever you want to call it. But I'm feeling good. I'm excited to talk some baseball.
Young Jake.
James, Trevor, Big Baby David in the corner. Doing well. Happy Honda days to you guys. How about it? We're basically through it. I'm itching for that Jan 4 number because that's when we're go mode. But how about go mode for the Padres? A little Sunday night dip. Enjoy your Green Bay snow game. Don't care. Baseball's hot in the streets, and Snell is going San Diego. Man, that's pretty nice.
Yeah. So anyone that does not know about the trade at all yet, the Rays have traded Blake Snell, his 3 seasons and $39 million. I added up the individual years, so I don't know if they're saying 40, but like if you just do 10 and 10.5, 12.5, 16, it gets to 39 in my math. Anyway, the Padres get Snell for 3 seasons, relatively cheap for who he can be. The Rays, in exchange, got 4 prospects. Luis Patino. Luis Patino. He's the main piece here. He's a top 20 pitching prospect, and he made his debut already, be it a rush debut. We can talk about that later. But they get him for 6 years. He has no service time. They get Francisco Mejia, 4 years of control for him, a catcher that they can slide right into the backup role and split time with Zunino and hope that he becomes something. They get Blake Hunt. He has another catcher that's still an A-ball. Doesn't do much for me, but we can talk about him if you want. And they get Cole Wilcox, who is a college pitcher that was just drafted in the 2020 draft by the Padres. And they broke the... I'm interested on this. It's kind of a aside, so I'll bring it up later as well. That's the trade. It's 4 pieces for 1 piece. It's very much the Padres being win now, with Clevenger being out for the season, and they want to compete with the Dodgers. They feel like this is their window, and they want to win now. And it's very much the Rays, in my opinion, being the Rays and refusing to ever be in win now mode and just always being prepped for that win in 2.5 years mode. If you're a Rays fan, and they're growing. Rays fans are coming, and they're growing, and they're active, and they're feisty. I mean, I went to a lot of the places where I see where Rays fans talk, and they're all just like, well, what the fuck is this? Like, Morton's gone, Snell's gone. We're supposed to just, like, the window's supposed to be wide open, and we're, like, closing in on ourselves because we're a little cold or something. It makes sense if the Rays they want to be 2 years away. This is a great trade, but the Rays should want to win now. So there's a lot of going around that, like, no, Rays are bad for baseball again. And I saw it. I wanted to say it, but I saw it, like, all the reporters being like, this sucks. So I want your guys' initial reaction to the trade, whatever direction you want to go. Jake, you were on this. You thought he was gone after the World Series. You didn't think there was any way he would return.
Simple math, man. Simple turkey math right around the holidays, too. The Rays are the Patriots of baseball. The Patriots slogan for 3 years was, hey, trade a guy 1 year early instead of 1 year late. And that's how they navigate now. And Snell coming off an all-time high. He was nasty in the playoffs. The final moment is him getting pulled before the team lost the World Series. He starts making a real salary, and it's easy Rays math here. I mean, Patino is the prize. Again, got some show action this year, called up at 20. He's 21 now. You hear the scout humpers rave about him, blah, blah, blah. He's kind of the piece, and then the other three are lottery tickets, and that's kind of prospects in any trade. Does something pan out? The Rays clearly like these guys a little bit. You mentioned the guy coming out of the draft, college pitcher, got some arm talent. I'm sure the Rays will find a way to tap in. The catcher, who knows? Flip a coin, see if they get to the big leagues. It's for Patino. And I think the other thing here, as a Padres fan, you got to be stoked. You get Snell. You're really building something. The depth on that team now is starting to get to the level of stupid that the Dodgers have and, the other dominant teams in baseball. As a Rays fan, it sucks, but this is how they operate. And I saw someone compare them to the 2014 Royals the other day. The Royals that went to the World Series, lost, came back, built it up the next year and won. Well, the Royals have now stunk for 5. How many more years are they going to be bad?
But they won the World Series.
Right. And the Rays want to stay in the mix. It's the whole new idea of playoff baseball where the teams, and this, the analytics department view getting to the playoffs as your lottery ticket, and then it's a crapshoot from there. The Rays are building this up. What was already regarded as the top farm system in baseball, they have now stacked that more. And think about how else they're going to use the money. They got Michael Wacha for 1 year, $3 million. That Blake Snell, $10 million, $12 million, $16 million. They can use that to go get 3 more pitchers. So it sucks. It's not the beauty of baseball that we want it to be, but this is how the Rays operate.
For anyone this is their first time listening to our podcast. I mean, these are some all-time bad takes from you, Jake. You just compared the Rays to the Patriots. The Patriots are a dynasty that wins championships year after year after year after year. The Rays don't do that.
Yeah, I missed that
at all. I don't understand that one. I guess you're saying they try to trade when the value's high. Well, I guess that may be the comparison you're going for, but holy, that was something else. I will say, I don't think the Rays are ever in rebuild mode. They're never in go for it mode. They're just in Rays mode. They think they can win next year for sure.
Yeah, they're always in wait for these prospects to land in 2 years mode.
But what the Rays do is they think they are smarter than everyone, and maybe they are. And now they're going to say we can get Snell, even though he's so cheap for a starting pitcher of his caliber. But they got rid of Snell, open up some money. Yes. They think with Wacha, with Patino, with some guys in their org stepping up, they can be the same team, maybe even better. So I think if you're a Rays fan, this is just something you're used to. I mean, everybody leaves the Rays. Everybody eventually leaves the Rays. They're essentially, Oakland gets that tag on them that they don't sign their players, but the Rays are the exact same way. I think they still believe they're going to be extremely competitive. And now on the Padres side, this isn't a trade just for this year. I mean, they signed Clevenger to a 2-year deal. He's coming off of TJ. They got Snell for 3 years now. Like their window is open. They got Cronenworth. They got Tatis. Couple of Grisham. Couple of young guys. They have Machado and Hosmer in there for the long haul. So they think their window is wide open. So they go and get a controllable pitcher that's as
a great move
caliber. I mean, the Padres are doing it.
It's a great move for the Padres. The Rays, they're like the Marlins, but they didn't win the World Series. If they won the World Series, then they're like, all right, we got the ring. Let's do a little rebuild, rebuild's too tough of a word, but let's get rid of some people and revamp for the next wave. People would be like, fine, you got the ring. Marlins have done that twice. They didn't win. So the Royals comparison, I'd much rather be the Royals who doubled down and be like, hey, we were a couple games away. Yeah. Let's go get it next year. Makes sense to do that, even if the next 5 years for the Royals suck. Like, devaluing the World Series and we'd rather sustained playoff ability than winning is a terrible mindset, I think, and sucks for fan bases that want to win. What fan base celebrates? Oh, well, we made the playoffs every year. Like, no, the World Series is the goal. And like, I agree, Jake, that there are teams that think of it that way now. It seemed like you were advocating for it, which is where I disagree, because win the World Series.
It out for the people. I agree with you guys. I was laying out the information for the people.
Sorry for attacking you this morning.
Yeah, no, I mean, Trevor Plouffe heard there's new people listening, so he wanted to attack me off the rip. No, man, I mean, this is Tampa. None of us are surprised by this trade. Nobody.
But it still sucks. It still sucks to not re-sign Morton, who has said, I want to be in Tampa. He said, I only want to be in Florida. They should have had did they even try? We don't know. I don't know either way. But, did they even try to bring Morton back? Did they even... They shopped Snell. They shopped him. I don't think people were to come knocking. He's got 3 years left. Next season is only $10 million. Do you know how cheap that is for Snell?
So
the Padres, every review you're reading of this trade is like, well, the Padres got a plus pitcher for 3 years and he's pretty cheap. And the reason the Rays traded him is because he was too expensive for them. So, what are we doing? Why are the Rays in the league? This sucks. I know that the rules allow the Rays to act like this, but I don't know how you fix the CBA to say, hey, this is bad for the sport and bringing in casual fans and building loyal fan bases if teams are incentivized to do this.
I mean, and that's where I'm a little surprised that you guys are coming in so hot, because there just should be no shock value here. This is the Rays. I mean,
no one's shocked. It just sucks.
And they're not. Yes, I mean, yes, full agree. But also the Rays are going to be set up really well. When we're talking about these other teams, whether it's the Royals, the Marlins, or whoever, the other small market teams that have done it throughout the years, they have the top prospect in baseball, Wander Franco, coming. They add Patino, who's by some people is a top 10 prospect in baseball. They have refilled it. And dude, we've seen these other trade packages. What if Snell gets hurt next year? What if, what if he has a bad year? Then he's down to 2 years. Look at the Clevenger package that we were all hypercritical of. The Rays made their move. It sucks. I also don't think it's good for baseball, but the Rays are going to raise. They just stacked a team that went to the World Series with more and more depth.
No, not with depth. No, they didn't stack him with more depth. They didn't. They stacked him with minor league players.
Patino is not.
He got 17.
Well, I think Patino was starting the minors. He skipped AA and AAA, and he only got major league innings last year because of COVID. With the service time situation and the Rays wanting to capitalize on that, he hasn't even reached 1 year of service time. My instincts would say the Rays are going to start this kid in AAA and get as much time in AAA so that he remains 6 years of service time for 2022.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to be good. I have no doubt about it when you just think about his stuff. I mean, should be good. There is definitely a chance that he doesn't amount to anything in the big leagues. I mean, I've said this before. Everybody's a slapdick until they prove they're not. That goes for the number one prospect in baseball all the way down. You got to do it at the show. You got to do it at that level. The guy Mejia that they got, he's two years service time, kind of just been a replacement player level player. He's young. So, there's some catching depth there, but they didn't restock the major league depth. And the Padres did that. The Padres are really doing it. I do get what you're saying. There shouldn't be a shock here. With the Rays, and if you follow the Rays, there shouldn't be any shock, but it does suck, man. You called it as soon as you saw Snell get pulled in Game 6 of the World Series. You said that's might be the last time we ever see Blake Snell pitching in a Rays uniform, and sure enough, it was. Think about this: he's making less money in the next 3 years. He's won a Cy Young already. Okay, this guy, when he's right. And you saying he might get hurt next year, I don't even know where that come from. Do not put that out in the universe, Jake. But he's making 10.5, 12.5, 16.5. Kevin Gausman got 18-something this year with a qualifying offer.
Yeah, if Snell was a free agent, if Snell was a free agent, I mean, it would not be this cheap. So the fact that that's too expensive for the Rays shows that sucks. Like,
I'm shocked that the Dodgers.
It sucks to have a team that cheap where everyone else is like, man, this is a great cheap deal for Blake Snell. But the Rays, for them, it was an expensive deal that they needed to shed. Like, other teams are gobbling it up because it's so cheap. And the Rays are like, nah, we need to shed this. And that's like, well, what are we doing?
I don't know if I don't know if this is a shed trade. I'm not too sure about that.
They said it was money.
I think they're just trying to capitalize. We'll see what their payroll ends up being this year. But I think they thought this was a package they couldn't turn down. And I'm curious to see what other teams were involved. Like the Dodgers have a great farm system. Were the Dodgers involved? I feel like this is a move the Dodgers would love to make. I'm
also with Jake that the other three guys on this list, I dug in. I did like an hour of reading and watching. They're nothing. It's Patino. I mean, a catcher. What's that? But he can be amazing. But like you're getting a lot of people saying like, what a haul. I mean, it's not like the other guys don't stand out as much. Mejia's got 2 years in the league, and they're hoping that he can split time with Zunino, which is a little bit of a need for the Rays right now. But, I mean...
There's a zillion backup catchers out there ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, he's pretty replaceable, nothing special. And then what's really interesting to me, and I don't know if, Jake, you look like you want to say something before I move on.
I was just going to say, what we keep talking about package, and this was when I was talking about moving Snell after next year or whatever it is. We just saw this happen. We saw the Clevenger package, and we were all wildly unimpressed. They just got 4 bodies. Like, go back to the Garrett Cole trade. The Rays got who's a guy who's supposed to be a dude. And yes, you're a prospect until you figure it out in this level. They got a dude, and you just don't see that in these kind of trades anymore. This isn't Bartolo for Grady Sizemore and the gang. Like, this is, I don't know. They got their guy, and it's the Rays. It sucks, and it's the current state of baseball.
Patino, like everyone, he's a shortstop converted to pitcher. So all the scouting reports, everyone just says real athletic delivery, real repeatable delivery because he kind of throws like a position player on the mound. I just watched a ton of videos. He does. It does look very fluid and nice and easy, and he sits high 90s. So that's nice. Good for him. He didn't get any work at AA or AAA, like I said. So I don't think he's a plug into the rotation for 2021 for the Rays. So this seems like a move to me for the Rays, and this doesn't help the 2021 Rays in my mind. They got significantly worse without Snell and Morton. I think that's objectively fair to say. They're still good and going to be competitive, and they can work their magic, but I think it's fair to say they got worse from 2020 to 2021, which is just an odd thing for a team who was 2 games away from the winning World Series to do.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
So I have something interesting for you, Trev. On this Cole Wilcox kid. He's a pitcher. He's a college pitcher. He was a top
big boy.
Yeah, he's a top pick, and then he kind of dropped to COVID and all that. He goes in the 3rd round, 80th overall. The Padres broke the 3rd round signing bonus record with this kid. They gave him $3.3 million as a 3rd rounder. So at first, when I saw this, I was like, well, the Padres probably don't even care about that. They got rid of their 3rd round pick. They wasn't really on their future draft board anyway. He just came, and maybe they didn't even get the magnet made with his name on it yet. But then I was like, wait, but they spent $3 million on his bonus. Now, did they pay for him, and like that $3 million's gone? Like, if they knew that they were going to offer him in packages, couldn't they have just not? I don't know anything about this, so I'm asking. It seems weird to give a dude the biggest bonus a 3rd rounder's ever got, then trade him and you eat the bonus.
I do know this, that if you were drafted last year, a lot of your bonus was delayed. Like, they didn't get their full bonus right away. So I don't know the answer to your question, but I do know that their bonuses were not paid out in full last year. Okay. So that could be something that maybe that got passed off to the Rays. Knowing the Rays, they probably were like, no, you guys are going to pay that.
Yeah. And maybe they chose him just to stick a needle in them because, like, that's so. If you know that you're going to offer this dude in packages, I doubt you break the bonus record. You just get whatever the smallest that he'll sign to become a Padre.
why break the bonus record? Was he a 2-sport guy? Was he? I don't understand that. If you draft a guy, you just give him slot and that's it. I mean,
you'd have to look into it. You know, normally in a situation like that, it's a guy who was a first rounder and said he was only going to sign with XYZ teams or something.
Nobody says that in baseball. You can't say that in baseball. That's like a football thing.
If you have other options, or if you're a guy that could go back to college or do other things like that, you know, that is out there. And I'll say it to you guys this way. You know, we're talking about the trade value. If the Padres knew that if they could draft this guy in the 3rd round, give him $3.3 million, and you can flip him as part of the Snell trade, I'm sure they would have been fine with that. So, I mean, that's where your investment went.
What's funny is here we are bashing the Rays. Mostly,
I'm
Jake,
not.
You're pumping the Rays up, no doubt.
It's a smart move. It's bad for the sport of baseball. Like, I understand the logic in this move. I'm not here saying that the Rays got fleeced or the Rays are like dumb. I just think the fact that this is a mindset of a major league team is bad for the sport.
Yeah, I'm okay with it being one team. I think I've said that before. If there's like 1 or 2 teams doing it, I'm okay. But if that's a model that everyone's trying to do across the league, I hate it. But I will say this. We've praised them so much, and we've constantly said, go try to trade with the Rays, find out who they want, and then don't trade and then promote those guys. The Padres did not do that. The Padres went ahead and traded those guys. We'll see how that works out. I'm excited to see Luis Patino. I think that, you know, I watched some highlights on him. Obviously, his numbers aren't good. He's 20 years old, though. They'll figure some stuff out with him. I'm sure he'll be at least a serviceable major league pitcher that they have control over for 6 years, which is exactly what they want. But just, you know, I think in the end, my final thought on all this is I'm happy for Blake Snell. He's to go to San Diego. I think he's going to have a lot of fun with that team. That he'll fit in perfectly with the boys in Slam Diego. And now he's in the thick of it. It's them and the Dodgers, and that's it. And go out, try to win the division. If not, get in the wild card. The Rays, it's a struggle every year there. They're competing, and then, you know, every once in a while they'll pop up and have a big year like they did last year. I'm excited for him to go to San Diego and just like be in the full thick of it, and like, for lack of a better term, you know, get onto a real Major League Baseball team.
Yeah. And it all goes back to value with trading or drafts or whatever it is. Snell, like think about how we got to this point. They pulled him twice through the lineup in the World Series because that's what the Rays do. So Snell has more value outside of this realm. So they made their move. They can use the cash elsewhere for this year and the coming years. And hey, I think the other thing for this upcoming season that we're going to start talking about a lot is that you're going to need a lot of arms this year. Even the veteran guys, you know, they didn't throw 150 innings last year. So, Jim, even if Patino does start in AAA, this year you're going to need 8-9 starting pitcher types. So he's going to be a body for them. I don't know if it's at the start of the year or towards the end of the year, but we know the Rays are going to ride that bus. And, you know, he's going to be the guy you key in on to if he does have the 6 years that Snell does, or excuse me, if he has 4 years that Snell kind of had, and then they trade him for the next crop.
Yeah. It's like a World Series.
The one thing I really don't get for the Rays is this is the most wide open the AL East is going to be.
Well, I think they just took themselves out of the favorite. I think they were the sure thing favorite.
I think the Yankees are going to be tough again. The Red Sox are not going to be tough. The baby Blue Jays, okay, I could see them being, you know, up there for, you know, battling for a wild card spot. But the AL East is down competitively from what we're used to. And now all of a sudden they're just like, you know what, screw it. It doesn't matter. Let's just trade away a Cy Young caliber pitcher. I don't know, man. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it just sucks for fan bases and fans. Who, you know,
yeah, then they complain about, hey, nobody's in our stands anyway. Like, well, this is part of the reason why.
Yeah, for the owner to come out and say no one goes up to our games, like joking, and then it's a good call, Trev. Like, well, yeah, why would you become a loyal Rays fan right now? The Padres rotation is awesome moving forward now. 2021, Snell, Lamet, Davies, Paddock, and then they got a whole crop of rookies and prospects that they can throw in there. Gore can get some work. Morahone, Adrian, young dude. Lucchesi, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Do they say Lucchesi? Is it Lucchesi?
I think it's Lucchesi.
Lucchesi. And then in 2022, you add Clevenger, maybe Gore. He's the big prospect. Maybe he becomes, one more step in the right direction. And then, they're probably going to be able to trade some pitching depth in next offseason if Clev's back and healthy, or they just hang on to it all. But Padres rotation looks pretty good. They got to compete with the Dodgers, and I like that they're doing this. We heard that the owner of the Padres said, hey, if we're not competitive next year, I forget what his threat was, but it was something funny.
I thought he said like heads are going to roll. And
yeah. If we're not competitive next year, heads are going to roll. I think that's what he said. So they got a lot of players. They got Pham, and now Snell's with his boy Pham. They liked each other. That slapdick prospect came from when went over there. What if they go sign Bauer now, and then they have friends with Bauer? I think this takes them out of the Bauer play.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I think this might be more appealing to Bauer now. Just do they have the money to do it? And I've read some reports that they do. They still have the financial flexibility to go and get Bauer. But then does that hamstring him trying to sign Tatis to a deal?
Well, what if
they should be trying to do that right now instead of waiting?
What if they how Bauer said forever 1-year deals, and then his camp really came back from that, and they were like, we're probably. What if he still wants short deals, and now the Padres can really entice him for a 2-year deal, and be like, look at our next 2-year roster. Who knows?
If they came high 2 years and gave him a shit ton of money, Jim, I think that is appealing. Like he's off the 1-year deal. He's got to be off the 1-year deal thing. 2 years at a high valuation or high money, I think he'd consider that, because he'd still, if you're talking 2 years, $75 million, like that's a big bag for him to get for 2 years, and then he could, get back out into the free agent market when things are back, revenues back, all that good stuff. So I do think a 2-year deal is still relevant for him. I think a 1-year deal is probably out the window. He wants to get real financial independence.
I'd guess he's not going to the Padres, but maybe the 2-year deal thing's enticing. I have no idea what the Padres books look like right now, like where they're at total payroll. I don't think they have a ton left to spend. But Jake, how you think this affects Bauer?
Padres, send us your book. I think they're out on Bauer. I think you got Snell. He's your guy, and the pitching's there. We ran through it a little bit. It's Snell. Dinelson Lamet was disgusting this year. 12 starts, a 2.09 ERA. Zach Davies is just I was going to say he's a solid guy. Go look at his stats from last year. He was good, but if he's in your rotation, you're happy. Chris Paddock might be their 4 starter now. This is before Gore gets here, who might be, I think he's the top starting pitching prospect in baseball. Morahone is 21 right now. They've got starting pitching. Clev bounces back next year. It's going to be exciting to see what it looks like next year. If they do Bauer, awesome, and it's almost a super team of sorts with starting pitching. I think they're out. I'm with Trev. Like, if you're willing to go there, I would get in with this Tatis guy for a 10-year deal and start doing that. And hey, as much as we're crapping on the Rays because it sucks that they run their organization like that, the Padres deserve some love. We gave them some love during the season. Their owner, he does have the funny quotes, heads will roll. They got a new front office. They got the GM and all of that. They retooled the whole system, and they had a plan that we're going to retool the system, then we're going to get good, and we're going to start paying guys. Look at their lineup, man. Grisham, Tatis, Machado, Hosmer, Pham, Will Myers, Cronenworth, and Nola. That's 1 through 8 right there. Hey, get the DH back. But the Padres kind of did this the right way for what's supposedly a medium market team, if we're labeling them that way. So I don't know. I do think they're out on Bauer. That just doesn't seem like the $25 million a year investment that they need to be spending at this point. But man, go Pods.
Dude,
Pods.
I'm talking that's a 35 $37 million thing. If they want to do it, they want to get him for 2 years, that's what it's going to cost.
For the Rays 2021 rotation, as of now, you're looking at Glass now as the number 1, Yarbrough as the number 2, Waka as the 3. Just Yanni Chirinos coming back in anytime soon.
So right now they have it Glass, no, Yarbrough, Waka, Fleming, Richards. Chirinos got TJ, Honeywell Jr., that's Trev's guy. We'll see if he can stay on the field. And then Brendan Two-Way McKay, our dude. So we'll see. Again, for me, I hate that it is a shrug, but like the Rays are going to pitch. They're going to be able to get those first 5 innings from a assortment of different guys, and then they'll throw it to another group of freaks in the bullpen. So the Rays are attacking this whole thing differently, and maybe they're going to break the game, and maybe they might be the biggest argument point going across the new CBA because they are living in a different and an unfun world.
I'm very, very curious to see what they do with that extra money now in the payroll. Are they just going to hoard it and keep it? Or are they going to go out and try to make some of these moves like with Waka? Like, are they going to go out and get some of these guys? They're going to wait, and then strike in at the end of March. I feel like they're not done. I feel like the Rays are not done. They have some tricks up their sleeves. At least for me, I have, been very mean to the Rays on this episode, but I don't want to end the episode without saying they are very smart. They know what they're doing. You might hate it, but they don't care. And now I want to see what tricks they have up their sleeve. Like, who are they going to go after? Like, is it a big bat? Do they think they're going to go acquire some cheap pitching and then make some adjustments on a guy, make him throw his fastball at the top of the zone like every other damn team does now? I'm curious.
I think they get a pitcher rehab guy. I think the Rays are going to try to make that their thing. The market's weird right now. Guys are probably getting these 1-year offers. The Rays will tell them, hey, why don't you come here 1 year 7 instead of 1 year 9 with another team? We'll fix you. Go get paid next year. So I do think they're going to use some of that Snell money. I don't know how much. But the other thing is, man, I give the Rays lineup a lot of crap. If Arozarena is even real, like all-star level, not necessarily the best player to ever play baseball, but like I think Austin Meadows is going to bounce back. I think Brandon Lau, is going to be solid, and hey, Wander Franco is waiting that I think,
we're all waiting. Let's go.
Could they flip your guy, Trev? What does Willie Adames get them? A 25-year-old shortstop? Does that get them something back? So I'm with you.
I know who they're signing.
I think the Rays have more moves coming.
I just figured it out.
Jimmy got it.
They're signing Happ. They're signing J Happ. And they're gonna be like, we can fix your fastball. 1 year, small deal. Happ lives in Tampa. Spent all last winter in Tampa. Rays are just gonna Rays are gonna try and just throw it in the Yankees' face and reinvent the guy that the Yankees parted ways with. And Happ's going to pitch with a vengeance against him. It's happening. Just figured it out.
Okay.
Huge.
I like that. I think I have another potential piece for them. Could be a reunion with our guy, Archer. It's a perfect candidate for them.
If he's pumping it.
Yeah, that's kind of what Jake's saying too. Like if they just give him like a get back into baseball honey deal.
He says he's feeling good. He's had a bunch of teams watching him throw, and so we'll see how that goes, man. But that'd be interesting. I do think they're going to do that. They're going to get creative. Like I said, they think they are smarter than every other organization in the big leagues, and they very may well be. And we're going to see. We're going to see how smart they are.
Trev,
in 2020.
You remember who blew our minds this year? Aaron Loop. Like, if they can get that dude doing what he was doing, like, who knows? If I was a free agent starting pitcher, I'd be stoked. I mean, not to, because at this point it's being half mean to guys, but I don't know. I'm looking at, hey, Tyler Anderson. Sure. What's in there? The Rays have whatever they're looking for. Wade LeBlanc, come to town. let's see what they tap into, and I'm sure they'll end up driving us nuts as Yankees fans.
We'll see.
All right,
Hey, Nightingale, our most untrustworthy reporter.
Assing.
Did you do a soundbite?
Yeah, I just did that. There's another piece of news, but do the Nightingale one first.
Oh, well, no. I mean, Bob Nightingale's not reporting anything. He's just guessing, because anyone that looks at the Rays payroll would then slide to the next biggest number and say maybe they're shopping him. It's Kiermaier. He's set to make $11 million this year. Kiermaier makes $11 million and then $12 next year. So, I mean, I saw it not from Bob, just from speculation from amongst like fans. Like, I bet they're going to shop Kiermaier next because he's making too much money. Got anything on that?
I would be so pissed. That's the heart and soul of the team right there. You can't let that guy go.
And it goes back to value for me. I don't think they'd really get too much back for Kiermaier. I know we love him. I know he's a defensive beast, but the career offensive stats just aren't there. So what they would get
it, man. Oh
yeah,
my God.
but
you could put him on a team that doesn't need his bat. He's very valuable.
Go see Jackie Bradley. He's a free agent, and he's probably going to get what, 1 year 5, 1 year 6. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but you could go do that instead of giving up anything for Kiermaier, who's going to be making more money.
Are they similar offensively? Kiermaier's better now.
I think he is probably, but I don't think he's a difference maker offensively. And I do believe he's worth more to the Rays than another team. But I'd be completely off the Rays if they did that right now. Maybe I'm just biased. I love KK. I know what he brings. I've seen it firsthand. But yeah, man, that would hurt.
Similar offensive stats. I think Kiermaier's got a higher career WAR because he's a little more special defensively.
Yeah, I was trying to do just the last 4 years. Well, they're the same age. So if I go last 4 years, it's their 26 to 30 years, which I am guessing what people would be looking at. Kiermaier's WAR, Kiermaier's defensive WAR is like double his. But we talked about that. Jackie doesn't really get those numbers for some reason. And offensively,
best center fielder in baseball. Defensively,
last 4 years, JBJ's been better offensively. So yeah, it doesn't add up.
So that's what I'm saying. 11 mil.
Well, if they do that, Jake, then that's literally just shedding payroll, not high value, not fixing another hole. That's literally if they do trade Kiermaier, that would just be them shedding payroll, which is really bad. Because with Snell, you have the highest value, blah, blah, but so I don't think they'll trade Kiermaier because kind of what both of you guys are saying. Like, he's much more valuable to the Rays for the next 2 years than he is anywhere else. If they do trade him, I think that's like, fuck. This is bad.
Yeah.
What was the passing sound?
So Joel Sherman, he's not reporting a deal being done, but he said, I'll just read the tweet. Hearing Padres are frontrunners for Ha-Sung Kim, who's the Korean shortstop coming over. Deal not done from what I hear, likely fewer than 6 years. Annual pay in the $7 to $8 million range, and he would go to second, and Cronenworth would go to left field full time. So including that part in the tweet made me think he's expecting it to happen, but it's not saying a deal's done. But Padres.
Why?
Go Pods, baby.
That seems like a confusing move.
I'm skeptical of anybody coming over from the Asian leagues, especially hitters. It's tough. It's a different type of game over here. And there's only been a few that have come over and really been and stayed in the show.
He's 25 years old. I don't know if that sways you one way or the other. That's just another fact I've got.
It doesn't. I mean, I hope he's good. I mean, I'm sure he's a good ball player. But, that's not a move that's going to really get me excited. And they got a guy that's really good at second base.
They do need more depth. I mean, I keep going back to that word to the point that I don't like it anymore. Their pitching depth is almost there. They're built it. I mean, if you look at their bench right now, even for our hardcore MLB listeners, it's deep cuts for a lot of people. Right now, it lists their benches. Campuzano, Tanalou, Greg Allen, Jorge Mateo, and Brian O'Grady. So, hey, just comparing them to the Dodgers, who they're comparing themselves to because they're in division and they just won the World Series. The guys they had kind of on the bench, Chris Taylor, Kike, Jock on certain nights. Like they, if that guy can be a good piece for them, sure. And I think this is Tommy Pham's last year. So who knows?
I was trying to look up the best Asian hitters. I mean, obviously you kind of have the obvious ones, and then that's all.
Yeah, it's Matsui and Ichiro.
Yeah. Then a lot of pitchers, and then Chu. Chu's got a really good career.
Yeah.
But like after those three, there's not like a 50 in the middle area. It's kind of like
no. And I played with a few guys. So Tsuyoshi Nishioka came from Japan. All-star, one of the bigger players out there, one of the biggest players out there, came over and was just completely overmatched here. The game's more physical. They throw harder. Everything about the game is just different here. And he expressed those feelings to me. It's not me saying it to him. He's told me that. And he was back over. He gave his money back and went back to Japan. Then I played with
no, thank you.
Yeah, Byung-ho Park, who was the real deal. Had more pop than almost anybody I've ever seen play the game. Like the guy in batting practice could hit balls where other people couldn't hit balls. It was very, very impressive. He said the exact same thing. Guys are bigger. They throw harder. He goes, when I hit batting practice here, every single person can hit home runs. Every single person is strong. He goes, when in Korea, he's one or two guys is hitting home runs. He's like, the game is just more physical here. And a lot of those guys, it's a mental thing to come over. Imagine if a guy that was playing in the States in MLB all of a sudden went to a league where the average fastball was 100 and everyone was 6'8", 6'9". Like that's kind of what the difference is. You play in the Asian leagues and guys don't throw as hard. They're not as physical. And then you come over here and it's like a super league. It really is.
That's why I never made it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ichiro, Matsui, and Chu, all hot.
Love those guys. Rake. Chu rakes, Matsui rakes, Ichiro rakes, obviously. But it's tough. It's tough.
Matsui
seems like lefty thing.
Matsui near and dear to my heart, Jake. But
what?
One of the uglier.
He's a beautiful man.
He looked like a corpse holding a bat in the batter's box.
You know who we forgot though? Choi, Yankee killer Choi.
G-Man. Yeah.
But hasn't he been over here forever though? He didn't play in the Korean League, did he?
No, he came over as a 19-year-old. Very, very interesting career path for G-Man Choi.
I think Chu did the exact same thing though. He wasn't in the Korean League. I think he came over early as well.
I don't think so. Well, no, you're right. He came over when he was 22. Yeah, you're right. At 18, the Mariners picked him up when he was 18 years old. So yeah, you're right. Cool. All right. Well, that's the end of this episode. This was an impromptu episode because the trade happened. I think we're going to be live tomorrow because there's a lot of odds and ends that happened over moves Christmas.
That don't warrant
the Josh Bell
episode.
trade didn't warrant a surprise episode, but we surely got to talk about that. And then there's some other.
There's a few. I just updated the list this morning.
Your favorite player, Josh Bell.
That trade makes sense. We'll talk about that tomorrow. This was just the Blake Snell episode, so hope you all are enjoying this weird and wacky week in between Christmas and New Year's. I hate this week. I hate it.
Why? This is great.
It's not the holidays, but I can't work because no one else is working, so I'm just kind of like in this like,
He's got to be on or off. No gray.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'll be on. Jake says January 4th. For me, it was today. Today's my starting next year. Terrible week.
Living in the future.
Yeah, how about that? I'm in 2021. Yeah. It's awesome. Congrats. It's great. Snell got traded. See you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.